just lying here, looking through the window.
What's up YouTube? Now today I've got my 75mm shrapnel shell case. I just want to show you the sizes of this with the tape measure. As you can see, it's 7.5 inches tall, which is fairly tall, and if I just mark it with my finger, it's 3 inches wide at the top of the diameter, that is. Now this is what I would have classed as a reasonable size shell. It's not very small, I guess you could say, but overall it's not very big, but the main thing is it's not tiny. I still wouldn't like to be having it fired at me. And now I'm going to bring in my new ww1 £60 British shell case. Well, as you can see, the size difference is enormous, as you could say. Now let me just show you the diameter of the £60 shell. It's just over 4 inches, which is 4 inches, which is pretty big compared to the 75mm one. And height wise, it is nearly 1 foot tall. It's 11 inches high, which is really big. Now this is going to be quite difficult with the camera height, but if you look here, 75mm shell can go inside the 60 pounder with inches to spare around the side. Now you may notice on the 60 pounder, if I go down there, that there is no drive band. Well, this has its explanation, because if you look along here, you can see the marks on the camera. That's where the drive band has been cut off. So after the war, when the French came round to clear up, they often cut the drive bands off because they were copper, and then they would have sold them, which is pretty good for them, I suppose, but for a collector nowadays it devalues it because there isn't a drive band. Also, the top is fractured a bit, I guess you could say, but you could still put a fuse adapter on there. And unfortunately I haven't got a torch at the minute, but it's empty all the way down to the side and rust pitted, which is expected. There's also no markings on the bottom, and if there was, it would have rusted away. But this is very, very heavy compared to this one, which you could lift with one hand, and this you would struggle to lift with one hand. And imagine that when it's full of lead balls and powder in there, that would be a 60 pound in weight, which is nearly 5 stone. So it shows that the artillery regiments in the First World War really would have had to work to pick these things up. I mean, handling 5 stone, and they were firing nearly 50 a minute. Well, with all the guns lined up, that is. That's obviously not one gun. One gun could probably fire about 5 in a minute. So the strain that the men working with these things was probably quite high, so it shows why many of them had, well, arm problems after the war, I guess you could say. And imagine the sound when that gun is fired, because when this is fired, it's got to fire 60 pounds of steel and lead all through the air at nearly the speed of sound. So as you can imagine, it's going to have quite a charge underneath it, which is going to leave quite a bang. And I definitely wouldn't like to be in the trench when this was coming towards me and exploding, because it's just massive. I mean, I can't even get my hands to touch all the way around this thing. That's how big it is. Well, that's probably it for now. I just wanted to explain the £60 shell, so thanks.